Thank you. Carol, please let the record show that Supervisors Cassiola, Savic, Fisher, Cowden, and Gizio are in attendance. In addition, Manager Januso, our Police Chief Makovinsky, our Public Works Director Bill Barkworth, our Zoning Director Bruce Bosley, and our Township Engineer Dan Bazra, and our Township Solicitor Gretchen Moore. At this time, we do take comments from residents. If you see something on the agenda you'd like to bring up, please feel free to bring it up at this time. We can discuss it. If it's something unrelated to the agenda, then we need you to wait until item right after the administrative reports. So go ahead, Andrew. Go ahead.
Hi, Jack King, 99 King Road.
Mr. King, would you please just grab the microphone and hold it? It works better.
Is that better?
Yes.
Jack King, 99 King Road. At the September meeting, Mr. Monaco presented a letter to the board about a possible conflict of interest. And I'm looking at address citizens' concerns regarding challenge of oil and gas ordinance. That's possibly what, I'm not sure. Is that going to be taken care of? Because it's
Mr. King, that is the item that's on the agenda. That's the subject. And again, it's on the agenda because a resident did ask us to address that. And I did say at the meeting that we would look into it. And we have looked into it. And I think our solicitor is better equipped to explain our process now for that.
Okay.
So I'd like to have her have the floor, please.
Thank you.
Please.
Sure. Yep, we can address that now. Good evening, everyone. I've been asked to say something tonight in response to this, in particular to a matter raised by a resident at the September meeting, as you just mentioned. Information the resident submitted to the board, including a document showing that the former township solicitor, John Smith's contact information appeared on a document submitted by attorney Michael McAnon in a substantive validity challenge to the township zoning ordinance. Now, that particular substantive validity challenge has since been dismissed by the zoning hearing board. This particular resident raised a question as to whether Mr. Smith, who was the solicitor at the time the zoning ordinance being challenged was inactive, violated any ethics rules governing lawyers. As lawyers in Pennsylvania, we're governed by the rules of professional conduct, which are promulgated by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. Under those rules, and in particular Rule .9, which was the rule this resident raised, lawyers have certain duties to former clients, and generally, without reciting the entire rule, lawyers may not represent another person or client in a matter that is substantially related to something for which the lawyer represented the client previously. And a lawyer may also not use confidential information obtained by the former client against that client in a subsequent matter. On October 3rd, Attorney McKagan, having heard about this issue being raised at a public meeting, delivered a letter to the Board of Supervisors. In that letter, Mr. McKagan denied that Mr. Smith had any involvement in the preparation or the filing of the validity challenge. I have advised this Board of Supervisors in a privileged setting about this matter. Without breaching any confidential or privileged communications, I will tell you that in my view, after the conclusion of this statement, this topic should not be a matter of further public discussion by this board. I further do not see there is sufficient evidence to move forward in the filing of anything or the investigation of anything in this particular matter. And I'd ask the board that this not be discussed publicly. Thank you.
Thank you. Will you name for the record, please?
Joe Petito, 12 Sunset Drive. I'm looking at 166, the Pennsylvania Turnpike Commission, turnpike roads. What does that mean, and what roads are they?
Don, you might be up on that.
This agreement, by the way, is the result of the Southern Beltway, in which case several state roads are being severed and turned over to the township. I know Dan Dysroth was involved.
Can you hear him?
Yeah. And as well as Greg. Cecil Rising Road portion of Morganza Road, south of Morgan Road, another portion of Morganza Road, north of Morgan Road, and a portion of Rising Road.
What?
A portion of Rising Road. Morganza Road, south of Morgan Road, they have stations in this part, which probably wouldn't, and there's a section north of Morgan Road.
You know,
These are
roughly
both
so
in
that's
the,
about-
these are both in the vicinity of Baker and Morgan Roads, yes.
Doesn't it describe the length of the roads on or what sections?
Cecil Rising Road, the takeover for the township is approximately 1,220 feet. One portion of Morganza Road, 450 feet. Another portion of Morganza Road is 1,142 feet. Rising Road, a distance of 636 feet. And another portion of Rising Road, approximately 1,978, so 1,978 feet.
Are you approving that tonight?
It's for the board's consideration, yes.
Okay, because none of those roads have been repaired. So once you approve it, then isn't Cecil Township taking over those roads?
That is part of the agreement.
Well, the agreement, technically, it's not a turn back, rather it's an abandonment, and part of the agreement is that all of those roads are brought up to what's called first-class condition, and we identify what that condition has to be in the agreement, and it's only at that time that the roads are abandoned to the township instead of a turn back.
So they will
it's-
be repaired before you
Correct,
get ownership? Okay.
yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Cecil, can I just start from here? I'd like to make just a recommendation to the board. Having lived on Rising Road where it intersects with Sunset, I think you need the engineer to make sure there was drainage problems there tremendously over the last 40 years. Before the township accepts that road, make sure that that's looked into extensively with the drainage on it. Stormwater drainage I'm talking about.
Just put one at the bottom of Rising Road.
Dan, will you take that under advisement?
Yes.
I mean, they may be addressing it already, but just be aware.
It's up to the board.
Thank you.
William Cass, Cecil Township #1 VFC Fire Chief. I'd like you to consider tabling 167 until we have an open meeting with all the fire departments if possible, and discuss the benefits to both the fire department and the township. I think it affects everyone, especially the fire departments. We haven't heard anything about it. I don't have anything bad to say about it. I don't know anything about it.
I guess I don't understand that. I think we've been kind of on our backs to get it done. We approved that ordinance, I think, 8 months ago, and we have kind of been dragging our feet to get it in.
October. I don't know what we're buying. The other one came out and had an open meeting, told us they'd work with us, provide us documentation, work on how you wanted to address issues and findings. I mean, you're just saying as a company here is going to do it. If this sample is a copy of the report that's just going to sit in a file in this office, it's not going to help me at 2 in the morning when I need to know where the hazardous materials are in the building or any special things are, and they're going to work with us, and the other company is going to work on PDFs and electronic database so we can put it in our tablets, which are on the engines, and we can pull that up. I mean, I'm not against them, and then they may work with us well, but I don't know anything about it, honestly.
Well, I think the purpose of it being on the agenda is to set all that up to not only to have a meeting, but to actually have our attorney help us with the actual agreement and the terms and conditions. We just needed to get it off of,
You're not accepting them as the final tonight, then, as the contract?
Well, in a way that we need to now prepare a contract with them. It's hard to prepare a contract and meet with, like you guys, if we're just interviewing people. We needed to have somebody to present.
You made so this is the third company or the second company? You made a comment to me during this process that I brought one company in and we needed 3, so now we're down to 2. Where's the third?
I don't know what you mean by needed 3.
You said you needed 3 competitive bids. That's why you didn't like the first company, only going with the first company came in and you couldn't find anybody for 6 to 8 months.
Did we give an additional one?
So, in fair, all openness, I don't have an agenda. I don't have any contact with that other company. I haven't talked to them for months. I just know what they presented us, and it sounded interesting, and this company may be just as good, but I don't know that. Now, I think we need an opportunity to interview them to see if that's something we want to pursue or put things in. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but there's a lot of minutia in there that I don't think you guys have the background on that needs to help the fire department. I mean, first of all, it's going to help the citizens of this township to be safer, public safety, I'm all for that. But there's a lot of information that directly will help firefighters if it's done right. And I just went to a fire dynamics seminar yesterday. There's actually in the country, fires are down by 50%, but firefighter fatalities are up by 50%. Fires are hotter now, and fires burn quicker, and there's a lot of things that this fire inspection will help us with, and we can get it on our tablet, we can get the information. I just know the other company, being former firefighters, one of the things that they would work with the fire departments to help us with what's called a pre-plan. If we pre-plan, we're not running around like the Keystone Talks on the big one, we can do that. And that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying this company won't do that. I don't know. That's my whole point. I think I just like to know more about it. I don't know what else I can say.
No, that's a good point. I think if we, at least if we have somebody to meet with again like we did the first time, and we may discuss that with them, and that'll help prepare that agreement if we actually.
And if it's the same company that is working with the township now?
It is.
Is this actually a bid contract, or the other company basically was a no-cost contract where they were going to bill out?
Same thing, they were going to.
Yeah, I didn't know. How would I know? That's why I'm asking.
Well, I don't think you care about who pays for it. I think you just wanted to see that you get honest.
Both. I'm a taxpayer, and I don't want to start an empire or anything, but we do need certain services fulfilled. And I think, and I want to just say this flat out, I appreciate you finally bringing this up, but I also think that fire protection is an afterthought in public safety. Now, Dawn and I just had a little row, but I think it really was a communication problem. I'll grant that. I think we need to improve communications. I take that very seriously, this Sky Zone over there. There could be up to 200 small kids up there in an emergency. That's not like a 7-Eleven with 5 adults or even a small business. Well, I've got Bianco School Baseball, I've got the Sky Zone, I've got even the ballet theater and 2 daycares and a school. I take all those very, very seriously. Now at Bianco, it's been 2 years now, the FPC still has not been corrected from that addition they put in. At Universal Electric, they put a 40,000 square foot addition on and still got the wrong private hydrant in the lot. It was documented, it was sent in, and nothing ever was done with it. But I don't know if the township wrote the wrong spec or the contractor put in the wrong thing, but 2 years from now, who's going to pay for it? How's it even going to be addressed? And even the contractor, who's going to be the FCO? Who's going to be the fire code official they report to? And say they're doing a good job.
And maybe that could be part of this requirement in this contract, that our inspector makes them assign somebody to that.
Well, I mean, the history right now of our inspections, I think there's a lot out there, and there's no mechanism, in all honesty and fairness, that as we find issues, that they get resolved. Because we either find out too late, or we're not told in the first place. And even like at Sky Zone, part of the issue was, we've been talking about Knox boxes for years. And as of last year, it was in the code that IFC, you can require it. Actually, it says I can require it until you appoint someone above me as fire chief. I got the code over there, you can see it. But I've been patiently waiting, I think all the departments have. But there are some issues that came up, and we figured this was a perfect example. The fire code has been passed. This is the first building. It's a major building. I didn't go looking for this. They changed. They changed occupancy. They changed that. It's gone from volleyball courts to trampolines. And I have known that they changed walls, if the sprinkler systems were adjusted, if the egress routes are still satisfactory. All that has to be done by math and a professional doing it or professional inspection. Now, and there's no communication. It could have been done, and all I need is a copy of the report. I go do a walkthrough, say, Dawn, thanks for the report, or whoever's in charge sends it to us so we can verify what's on that report and what's on that inspection. But I'm going to tell you, if this is the actual report of the inspection, I would not be happy with it, I'll tell you right now. I mean, we need a computer base, we need possible PDFs and pictures to go with it, and that should be part of the package in this day and age. We want to go forward, not backwards.
And if they were what we do.
Yeah, and I'm not saying they're not. I'm not saying they're not a good company. I just know as things have gotten caught up in, and here's the bottom line. I'm there at 3 in the morning. I can't call Dawn. Dawn won't be there, you won't be there.